So friends, in my first part of this expression for Planck's law or Planck's radiation law, we have discussed that or we have calculated the number of oscillators in the frequency range between nu and nu plus d nu, and that equation we have know that that equation we have seen it is g nu d nu, that is number of oscillators per unit volume in the frequency range between nu and nu plus d nu is nothing but this is 8 pi nu square d nu divided by cq. So this equation we have already derived in my first part of this lecture. Now in this second part I will be discussing how to calculate the average energy of the Planck's oscillator. And then we'll calculate the formula which is called as the Planck's radiation formula. Now we have already introduced the Planck's hypothesis, that according to Planck's hypothesis, the black body radiation consists of the large number of harmonic oscillators, and each harmonic oscillator has its frequency, and the energy of such harmonic oscillators is in multiple units of a quantum. That means it is multiple of n into that h nu. That is the Planck's hypothesis. And based on that hypothesis, now we are going to calculate the average energy of the Planck oscillator. So in order to calculate the average energy of the Planck oscillator, suppose it is epsilon bar, we can call it as. So it is equal to, it will be given as the total energy of the oscillator, divided by total number of oscillators. So these two things we have to calculate. We have to calculate the total energy of the oscillators, all oscillators, and also we have to calculate the total number of oscillators we have to calculate. These two things we have to calculate: total energy of the oscillators and total number of oscillators. These things we have to calculate, and the ratio of these two is nothing but the average energy of Planck oscillator. In order to calculate the energy, what we have to use? We have to use the Maxwell's law of energy of the oscillators, in which these oscillators have energy 0, epsilon 2, epsilon 3, epsilon, and so on. And these energies, they are in ratio as 1:2 e raised to minus epsilon by kt, as to e raised to minus 2 epsilon by kt, as to e raised to minus 3 epsilon by kt, and so on. That means here, according to Maxwell's law, we can write the number of oscillators having the energy E as n is equal to n0 into this e raised to minus e divided by kt. So this energy E is nothing but according to Planck's quantum theory, we are going to that energy. But if you use Maxwell's law of energies, you'll observe that these energies, they are in the ratio as 1 adds to e raised to minus e by kt, because we are using the value of e as 0, then you will get n is equal to n0. If you use e is equal to epsilon, you will get n is equal to n0 into e raised to minus epsilon divided by kt, and so on. So this equation we are going to use in order to calculate the total energy of the oscillators. So let us assume for that n0 be the number of oscillator, Planck oscillator, having energy 0. Means there are certain oscillators out of n oscillators. So n0 oscillators, they have energy n0. Now assume that the number of oscillators having the energy epsilon, and suppose these number of oscillators, they are n1, obviously they will be n minus n0, and that those number of oscillators will be, according to this equation, it will be n0 into e raised to minus epsilon divided by kt. Similarly, the oscillators having energy 2e, suppose those number of oscillators are n2, obviously those number of oscillators will be n2 is equal to n minus n1. So remaining oscillators I'm calling as, so suppose it will be n0 into e raised to minus 2 epsilon divided by kt, and so on. So if you consider likewise, you will get the number of oscillators having the energies between energy 0, epsilon, 2 epsilon, 3 epsilon, and so on. So in this way, we can calculate the total number of oscillators, as obviously there will be some of the all oscillators having different energies. So n0 number of oscillators are having energy 0, n1 oscillators have energy epsilon, n2 oscillators have energy 2 epsilon, n3 oscillators have energy 3 epsilon, and so on. So if you use the values of n1, n2, n3 in this equation, you will get the total number of oscillators as n0 plus. You can use the value of n1 as n0 e raised to minus epsilon divided by kt, value of n2 as n0 e raised to minus 2 epsilon divided by kt, and so on. So from this equation, we can take n0 as common, and you will get equation as n is equal to n0 into bracket this term 1 plus e raised to minus epsilon by kt plus e raised to minus 2 epsilon by kt, and so on. Let's put this quantity as y. If you put this quantity as y, you will get n is equal to n0 into bracket 1 plus y square plus y cube, and so on. So this is nothing but a expansion of this series 1 minus y raised to minus 1. So this 1 plus y square plus y cube is expansion of series this 1 minus y raised to minus 1. So if you put the if you solve this, you will get n is equal to n0 divided by 1 minus y, and if you put the value of y here, you will get the number of oscillators is equal to n0 divided by 1 minus e raised to minus epsilon divided by kt. So this is very simple way to calculate the number of oscillators having different energies. They are 0, epsilon, 2 epsilon, 3 epsilon, and so on. So in this way, you can calculate the number of oscillators, total number of oscillators in n is equal to n0 divided by 1 minus e raised to minus epsilon by kt. Now, total energy of the Planck oscillators can be calculated as total energy we have to calculate, because that energy will be given as, suppose E is equal to there are n0 oscillators having energy 0, so first term will equal to 0. There are n1 oscillators having energy E1, epsilon. Therefore, this term will be epsilon into n1. There will be n2 oscillators having energy epsilon 2, so that energy will be n2 into 2 epsilon. There will be n3 oscillators having energy 3 epsilon, so those number of oscillators will be that energy will be 3 epsilon into n3, and so on. So in this way, we can calculate the total energy of the all oscillators. And if you put the values of n1, n2, n3, which you have derived earlier, then you will get E is equal to first term will be 0. This epsilon into this value of n1 as n0 into e raised to minus epsilon divided by kt plus 2 epsilon into value of n2 as n0 into e raised to minus 2 epsilon divided by kt, and so on. You will get terms. So again, from this term will be 0. So from this term, if you take n0 into epsilon as common, you will get remaining terms as into bracket e raised to minus epsilon by kt plus 2 into e raised to minus 2 epsilon by kt plus 3 into e raised to minus 3 epsilon by kt, and so on. Again, if you take this e raised to minus epsilon by kt as common, you will get E is equal to n0 into epsilon e raised to minus e by kt into bracket. You will get this as 1 plus 2. So this will not be minus this 1 of e raised to minus epsilon by kt is taken common. So here only 2 into e raised to minus epsilon by kt. Here again plus 3 into e raised to minus 2 epsilon by kt, and so on. So if you put this as y is equal to again e raised to minus epsilon by kt, you will get this term as 1 plus 2y plus 3y square, and so on. And this 1 plus 2y plus 3y square is nothing but expansion of this series 1 minus y raised to minus 2. So that you will get the energy, total energy of the all oscillators as E is equal to n0 into epsilon into e raised to minus epsilon by kt into 1 minus y raised to minus 2. Or we can write this as using the value of y as e raised to minus epsilon by kt. The total energy of the all oscillators will be n0 epsilon e raised to minus e by kt into bracket 1 minus e raised to minus epsilon by kt raised to minus 2. And after simplifying that, you will get total energy of all oscillators as E is equal to this n0 into e raised to minus epsilon by kt divided by 1 minus e raised to minus epsilon by kt bracket square. So in this way, we have calculated the total number of oscillators. We have calculated total energy of all oscillators. So average energy will obviously given as total energy divided by number of oscillators. So the average energy of Planck oscillator will be epsilon bar is equal to E divided by N. So we have calculated the value of E as N into epsilon e raised to minus epsilon by kt divided by 1 minus e raised to minus epsilon by kt bracket square, and number of oscillators we have calculated N0 divided by 1 minus e raised to minus epsilon by kt. If you simplify these terms, then you will get this average energy of Planck oscillator as e raised to minus epsilon by kt divided by 1 minus e raised to minus epsilon by kt. So again, if you multiply here numerator and denominator by term e raised to plus e by kt, then this will be e raised to 0 1, and here if you take that common, you will get this as if you multiply inside, you will get this as average energy of Planck oscillator as epsilon bar is equal to epsilon divided by e raised to epsilon by kt minus 1. So this is the average energy of Planck oscillator. But according to Planck's quantum theory, the energy of oscillator is given as E is equal to epsilon is equal to h nu, that we have stated in hypothesis. Hence we have to use here epsilon is equal to h nu, because energy of the oscillator, single oscillator, is given as h nu, and therefore average energy of the oscillator will be epsilon bar is equal to h nu divided by e raised to h nu by kt minus 1. So this is very important. This is the trick. This is the different thing that Planck has tried, and he obtained an expression for the energy density in order to explain the behavior of the black body radiation spectrum. So therefore, the energy density, now we can call it as E nu d nu, belonging to the frequency range between nu and nu plus d nu, this is nu plus d nu, is obtained by taking the product of number of oscillators per unit volume in the frequency range nu and nu plus d nu and average energy of the oscillator. That means G nu d nu multiplied by epsilon bar will give us the energy density of the Planck oscillators lying between the frequency range nu and nu plus d nu. So if you put the value of G nu d nu, which we have derived in my earlier lecture as 8 pi nu square c cube divided by d nu, and average energy of the Planck oscillator as h nu divided by e raised to h nu by kt minus 1. And if you solve this, you will get the energy density of the black body radiation as E nu d nu is equal to 8 pi h nu cube divided by c cube into 1 upon e raised to h nu by kt minus 1 into this d. So this is the Planck's radiation law in terms of frequency. We have obtained the radiation curve as the variation of the energy density with respect to wavelength, and therefore we have to convert this formula from frequency to wavelength. So this is the formula in terms of frequency. We have to obtain this formula in terms of wavelength, and for that we can obtain by using nu is equal to c by lambda. We can calculate d nu is equal to minus c divided by lambda square d nu. So we can take the modulus of value. We cannot calculate that. We cannot take the negative value. And if you put the value of nu is equal to c by lambda in this expression for the Planck's radiation law, so that you will get E lambda d lambda is equal to 8 pi h by c cube will remain as it is. This nu cube can be replaced by this c cube divided by lambda cube, and this 1 upon h, this nu can be replaced by c divided by lambda, so that we will get e raised to h nu by lambda kt minus 1, and this d nu can be replaced by its modulus value c divided by lambda square d lambda. And if you simplify all these terms, you will observe that this c cube will get cancelled. You will get 8 pi hc and into divided by this lambda raised to 5 into 1 divided by e raised to c by lambda kt minus 1 into d lambda. So this is the Planck's radiation law in terms of the wavelength, and which is very important law, which exactly explains the behavior of the black body radiation spectrum. That means variation of the energy density with respect to lambda. Lambda is nothing but the wavelengths of the radiations that are observed in the black body radiations. Then the variation of the E lambda, that is energy density with respect to lambda, can be exactly or properly explained using this law. Hence, this law is very important. So this is how very lengthy derivation, but it is very important. So I have recorded in two parts. Hope you must have enjoyed this beautiful explanation of this Planck's radiation law in two parts. So if you have enjoyed my lecture, I request you to like and share my video channel on YouTube, so that I can be very enthusiastic to make more and more interesting video lectures on physics for you. Thank you for watching this lecture.